Welcome to Thoroughbred Racing Forecast, coming to you from fabulous Las Vegas. Thoroughbred Racing Forecast, starring Dennis Tobler.
Preakness Stakes Preview.
Welcome everyone to our Preakness special on Thoroughbred Racing Forecast. My name is Dennis Tobler and I'm coming to you from Bet Central here in Las Vegas. And once again, we have a tremendous show lined out for you, just like we did the Kentucky Derby show, just like we do the Triple Crown shows every year. This year again, we've got the great Fred Wallen with us, the greatest sports host, radio host in the country, and we have Mark Klein, the corporate joker. In other words, the corp jester, the guy living in Louisville, Kentucky, who knows more about horse racing than most people have forgotten. So we're going to have these guys on the show to give us your input and give us their input, and we will build out our wagers for you for the Preakness. First of all, let's review it a little bit. It's only been 2 weeks since the Kentucky Derby, and many of the horses in the Derby have passed the Preakness. So we have 9 horses in the Preakness field this Saturday. It will be ran in Maryland, and as we talk about the corporate entities that run these racetracks, as bad as I hate Churchill Downs Incorporated, the same goes for the Stronach Group that runs most of the racetracks on the West Coast, and they run the racetracks in Maryland where the Preakness will be held this week. I have nothing good to say about these corporations. They continue to disrupt our gambling abilities, and they continue to disrupt just regular enjoyment of these things with all the rules and regulations, and they trick people into this and that so you can't move your horses across the country. So at this point in time, we're going to take a short break. I'll be back with Fred and Mark, and we'll have the Preakness winners for you.
Now Place Your Bets, the world's #1 sports betting film, is now available on DVD. Produced by Dennis Tobler, this Indie Film Fest winner has reached the top of the documentary list. Order your DVD today at www.nowplaceyourbets.com or stream from Vimeo today anytime. Now Place Your Bets. Watch it today.
Welcome back, everyone. Dennis Tobler here in Las Vegas at Bet Central. And as I promised, the first guest on the show today is Mr. Fred Wallen. Fred is our Sports Overnight America host on sportsbyline.com and all the radio stations across the country. Fred, thank you for being on the show. Welcome. Give us your views on the Kentucky Derby, then we'll talk the Preakness.
Well, of course, we taped the Kentucky Derby as we're taping this one on a Tuesday. Both of us definitely, and Mark, of course, would have had Rich Strike if we had taped it Friday, but we taped it on Tuesday. But in this case, first of all, let me say this about Rich Strike. Horse racing certainly has been hit hard in recent vintage. Horses have been euthanized. Cheating has been involved, and whatever the case might be. I think Mr. Dawson, the owner of Rich Strike, did the right thing here. Now, again, as far as this week is concerned, it would be more exciting if Rich Strike had a chance, of course, for the Triple Crown. But in the long run, I think horse racing is better off if the horse is not prepared. It's like a marathon runner. If you prepare for a marathon 5 weeks from now, and then somebody says, hey, it's going to be 2 weeks, well, then you're not going to really be prepared. And I think they did the right thing with the horse in not running it from that perspective. But again, from perspective of the fun and the excitement of the Preakness, we wish the horse would be there. But it's sort of like Clayton Kershaw a few weeks ago. He's got the perfect game going through 7. Dave Roberts, the Dodger manager, pulls him after 7. People are saying, well, you should have left him in. No, you really should. I'm not a big Dave Roberts fan, but you shouldn't have left him in. He did the right thing in that case. You didn't want to hurt the pitcher. In this case, you don't want to hurt the horse. Dennis, you own horses. Talk about that.
Well, I agree with you 100%. I mean, 2 weeks is a little fast to come back from a big, long distance race for a 3-year-old horse. And they have to be trained up to it. You're absolutely right. And I think there's only a very few horses in this 9-horse field that are in that predicament. I will say Rich Strike surprised everybody coming in. And yes, it was another faux pas on the part of Churchill Downs. I mean, if you're going to have an also eligible list, you got to have those races entered on the sheets so you can bet number 21. There wasn't a 21 to bet when we did our show, and there wasn't a 21 to bet until Thursday night. So here again, Churchill Downs Incorporated is one of the lousiest corporations running horse racing there is in the country. The second worst is Stronach. We're going there for the Preakness. I agree with you, Fred, about Rich Strike. I have no idea the quality of that horse anyway. And in this race here, there's a couple of big standouts. The rest of them are also rants. Why don't you run through the Preakness for us and tell us your thoughts?
Well, I think you got to think Epicenter is going to be near the front, at the end. But last time we checked, it was 6-5. Most likely he's going to go off at even money or 4-5 come Saturday at Pimlico. So maybe you box him and hope he finishes with everybody, and you hope he finishes second, or in the trifecta, you put him in there and you hope he finishes third. But the bottom line is another horse that I think's got a shot here. If you look at the charts, simplification in the number 1 hole. First of all, he's got Velasquez. And now that's not Lafitte Benkai of my generation, but he's pretty good. So you got a shot with him from that one spot. Because if you look at the charts, this horse started off as a horse that would be near the front end, and now he's sort of coming from behind. So if there's any kind of speed on the front end here, that horse has to be thought of as a possibility. I think you're going to get 5-1 or 6-1, maybe less, maybe 4-1, whatever the case might be as far as Saturday. So I think simplification's got a shot. Of course, Epicenter is going to be the heavy favorite. Folks, you're not going to get rich betting 4 to 5 shots because believe me, they don't always win. And early voting probably going to go to the front end here. And he's not going to run 45-3, I don't imagine. And so we'll see how it goes. It'll be fun. I don't like the 20 horses. I like the 9 or 10 horses, and in these kind of races, because there's less bumping and things like that. And maybe the true winner will come out on top. So I'm going to box Epicenter with everybody. Hope in a trifecta box, hope he finishes third, and hope one of the big underdogs comes out on top. But you're not going to get 80-1, but there are horses here you get 15 or 20-1.
Yeah, that sounds like a good way to build out your strategy to bet the thing, because I agree with you. I think Epicenter is going to go off as odds-on favorite, maybe 4 to 5, something like that. Secret Oath's going to get a lot of play because of the Oaks win, but remember that was only 2 weeks ago too. So Secret Oath, the filly, is coming back only off a 2 weeks rest. So that's going to be a little hard on her. She has trained up to this spot, but here again, I don't think the filly can beat the Colts in a matchup like this. So I agree with you on that. I love the way you build out the trifecta. If you put Epicenter in first, second, third place, not going to cost you that much, 50 cents a whack. And you could hit big time if one of these long shots come in. And there's a chance they could, just like we said. I mean, who knows if Epicenter likes the track or not. And before we go any further, I want to make one little mention that we know the show's watched far and wide, because last Kentucky Derby show, I made a mistake mixing up Asmussen and Chad Brown when I was talking about the 2 horses in the Kentucky Derby. And man alive, you should have seen the comments I received. One particular guy, and you know who I'm talking about, if you're watching the show again, which I know you do watch because you can't win without watching, is the fact that I know that Asmussen and Rosario are riding Epicenter, and they're going to be hard to beat. Okay, buddy? So next time you want to criticize us on our TV shows and our information we're giving you, I want you to remember 2 things. We ad-lib this. We don't read it off of teleprompters, number 1. Number 2, it's coming out of our brains, not out of your other end, like comes from these guys that do the hating on our sites. So good luck to all of you. If you want the best information, you best stick with us right here on Thoroughbred Racing Forecast. Well, thanks again, Fred. Sports Overnight America every Friday and Saturday night all over the country. I'm sure you're waiting anxiously for summer to come around. Baseball season, I know you love. So thank you for being on the show. Any last thoughts?
Well, again, I hope it's a dry Saturday at Pimlico. As of this morning, Tuesday, it looks like it's going to be dry. Everything we said, forget if it's muddy, because we don't know who the mudders are at this point in time. Let's hope it's clear.
Yeah, let's do. Thanks a lot, Fred. We'll catch up with you next time.
Thanks, Dennis. Bye.
When I'm at the track, I get all my information from the Thoroughbred forecast.
Welcome back, everyone. Dennis Tobler here in Bet Central, and our next guest is the one and only Mark Klein from Louisville, Kentucky, the original court jester. That's right. Mark is a comedian and also a horse race handicapper and one of the best. He lives in Louisville, Kentucky. Just finished the Oaks and the Derby a couple of weeks ago. Mark, what's it like? What were your impressions of the races, and how did it go in Kentucky?
It's hard to love a race that cost you money, but I loved that Derby. I'm happy to tell you that the connections of Rich Strike are every bit as nice as you hope they are, which doesn't happen a lot in this business. But I know people that know them personally, and the people that want it are as nice as you want them to be. So kudos to them. I had a different shirt on a couple of weeks ago. I lost that one on the Derby. That's okay. I'm glad that it worked out well for people who certainly deserved it. And, you know, my top pick last week was Epicenter, along with most of the rest of the country. And Epicenter across the board returned you a profit. So no shame in that.
No, that's for sure. And Epicenter did run a winning race. The horse snuck up on the inside there. I've watched it over and over again. Can't explain it. I want a blood test.
The only person more surprised in America than me at the 16th pole was Joel Rosario. Believe me, having held Zandon at bay at arm's length, he probably thought some parachutist was coming in as a practical joke to his inside wearing red and white. They run that race 80 times, and Epicenter wins 40 of them, and Rich Strike never wins again. But it was the way it was, and again, kudos to decent people who deserve this for the years they've put in, and bless them for it.
Well, it's great that it drew some excitement, and now we're off to the Preakness for leg 2 of the Triple Crown. The Kentucky Derby winner, Rich Strike, will not be in the Preakness, so no Triple Crown chance this year. Give us your take on the Preakness. I think I know who you're going to pick.
Well, if you're thinking Epicenter, you're right. As I said when we reviewed the Derby, he runs his race. His race does not run him. His speed figures are so consistent race after race. And if he's healthy and happy, he runs between 94 and 100, risen that figure, and close to 100 buyer. And again, this particular crop of 3-year-olds, I think that's enough. Zandon's out of the race. I don't think anybody, if he's anywhere near the lead, say within 2 lengths of the top of the lane, he runs his race and he wins by daylight. So now we're trying to pick someone who can surprise him on the front end and wire it. Could it happen? Yes. Will it happen? Probably not. So I think the smartest thing to do is, again, take him at 8-5 is a very generous price. 3-5, no, I'm not going to bet. I'll root for him, but I'm not going to take him at 3-5. The risk is just too much for the reward. 7 or 8-5, yeah, I go ahead and bet on that horse on the top end.
And what do you see? Who do you see as the horse going out as the speed?
Well, I think Creative Minister is one of those horses. They don't know how good he is yet, and they put up $150,000 to find out. So he's in my exotics. I think out of the number 2 hole, he's going to have to show some speed to stay out of trouble. But it's not 20 horses. It's only 9 of them. And, you know, people, they see the shorter distance of the Preakness as, well, this is, and they handicap it like it's a 7 furlong race. It's not. It's just a little bit shorter than a Derby. These are tough distances still to get. So even with improving speed horses, the Preakness tends not to get wired on the front end like you think a sprint's going to be. It gets won by pressing horses. So I think Creative Minister has a lot of upside to him. Simplification, who we both liked as an exotic at a big price in the Derby. Again, another horse, he brings his race with him. I think he might be getting a little tired. I hope not, because I'd like to see him hit the board as well. And I threw out the 3rd Derby horse in the race, Happy Jack. I just don't get the sense that he belongs with this group week after week after week. You know, he got his tail caught in the starting gate at the start of the Derby, which is why they had to delay on him and back him back out. This is a horse that finds trouble whenever he wants to, and you can find trouble in Baltimore wherever you look, believe me. The only thing I think likely to pass Epicenter in the stretch is a 9mm shell in that town. Okay, so I don't believe Happy Jack. Although Doug O'Neill, I think he's a billboard for Doug O'Neill getting 3-year-olds to classic races, not a win candidate. I wouldn't be embarrassed to put Secret Oath and Creative Minister in with Simplification and my Epicenter in the exotics.
Well, that's a great layout. Let me ask you what you think about Secret Oath, the filly. She, of course, won the Kentucky Oaks, and 2 weeks later, she's coming back to race against the boys here. Give me your thought on that.
I think that her Arkansas Derby turns out to have been probably a mistake for her to run in, and I'm hoping that race coming 4 weeks before the Kentucky Derby wasn't her Derby race. I'm hoping she has something left in the tank, just because how can you not root for the coach? But my gut sense is that the Arkansas Derby, followed by a very big win in the Oaks, is enough for her. And I know she's going to get 8 to 10 weeks off after this anyway. I think she's ready for it now. But, you know, I don't train the horse and I don't ride the horse, and I hope she has a fair chance. I don't think she's a Swiss skydiver that's going to come in and win this at 12 to 1 because nobody knows anything about her. Everybody knows who she is and what she is. I just don't think she's a grade 1 winner against males, and we'll find out Saturday.
One final question for you, and I don't know if you know the answer to it or not, but in Maryland, are the jockeys allowed to use whips?
On each other, yes. Again, it's Baltimore. You've been there. You know what's involved. To get out of the parking lot alive requires equipment beyond our ability to wield legally. I don't know the answer to it. I believe they are. I think the only thing they can't do, the new whipping rules, I think uniformly you can't bring your whip above your shoulder. So I think they are allowed to use whips. If they weren't, you'd know about it. So I would have to guess yes.
Yeah, I think Laurel Park in Maryland don't allow whips, the jockeys to use whips. So that's why there's a little bit of confusion between these Maryland racetracks. Hopefully all these rules will be put together someday so they're static across the country. So there's not all this confusion. It'd be better for the horse bettors and the horse.
Agreed. We're close to having only 25 tracks running in North America, but they all have the same rules. That's, you know, you look 10 years down the road, that's where we're going to be.
That's where we need to be. It's too much of a problem for the gamblers otherwise to keep track of these scenarios that we've been discussing. Anyway, Mark, it's been always great. And all those insights you gave us were fantastic about simplification, maybe being out of gas. I like that. I think you may be correct on that. And creative minister maybe going out front. Fred Wallen on earlier thought maybe early voting would go to the front from his win in the Wood Memorial. Can't remember the last time I seen a Wood Memorial horse come and win a classic race. So yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm pretty sure that everybody's going to be on Epicenter. It's going to be pretty hard to upset that horse that day. I want to thank you for coming on, and I really appreciate the insights that you've given us. Best of luck to you at the Preakness, and the rest of the year we'll be back. Hopefully you'll contribute to our Belmont show, and good luck.
Thank you so much, gentlemen and racing fans. See you later.
Check us out at www.thoroughbredforecast.com for the latest in horse racing selections, also videos of our television shows, and better yet, we have our many opportunities for investment and opportunities for you to get involved in the great sport of kings. Check us out today, thoroughbredforecast.com.
Well, welcome back, everyone. It's now time for me to give you my selections for this year's Preakness Stakes. First of all, I want you to understand that Mark and Fred bet their own horses. They play their own plays at their own platforms, and I do the same thing. So here's how I'm going to build out the race. First of all, I'm going to take Epicenter on top. That's right, Epicenter is the odds-on favorite, and nobody's going to beat that horse in this race. So we're going to put Epicenter on top. In the second position, I'm going to go with the long shot, number 7, Armagnac. Armagnac, that's right, a California horse by Tim Yakteen, and that means that it's a Bob Baffert horse. It goes into the Preakness as a 12 to 1 shot off of only an allowance win in California. This horse is going to surprise those East Coast horses and finish second up to Epicenter. So in second position, I'm going to take 7, Armagnac. All right. And in the third position, I'm going to go with the filly, Secret Oath. She ran in the Kentucky Oaks, but she ran very well 2 weeks ago. She beat the boys in Arkansas, and I think she may be able to beat some of the boys here. So I'm going to take Secret Oath, the filly, in the third position in this race. So to build it out, I would take Epicenter on top. I would take Secret Oath, Armac, Knack, and Simplification in the second position. And in the third position, I'll take all of the horses. Now, these are only 50-cent tickets, so that doesn't add up to a whole lot of money. So you take Epicenter on top, put Secret Oath and number 7, Armageddon in second, and in number 3, Secret Oath, and take all the rest of the horses to finish in the fourth position. And that's your trifecta, exacta, and superfecta box for the Preakness Stakes. Now, I'm like Fred, you're not going to pay the bills betting odds on horses. So if this horse goes off at 4 to 5 Epicenter, it's hardly worth a bet to win. So you need to find a good horse to pay in the second position for the exactas. And that's where my number 7 and my number 4 come in. So mark it down. I'm taking 8 over the 4-7, with all, okay? That's the exacta box, trifecta box, and superfecta box that I'll be using for this year's Preakness Stakes, and Epicenter will be the runaway winner. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll be back again with our Belmont Stakes show later on this year. I want you to stay on our TikTok channel for our daily videos, and be sure to watch Dennis Tobler YouTube and subscribe so you don't miss any of the shows coming from Bet Central in Las Vegas. For now, good luck from all of us. Thank you to Mark Klein and Fred Wallen, and we'll see you again next time. This is Dennis Tobler from Bet Central signing out.